we've never gone live on Instagram before. We always thought that we were live on Instagram. We were not. And today will mark the first day we actually have these people on Instagram join us, which will mark a very big, you know, it'll be a very big difference for me. So I'm going to go ahead and check it out. So go to Instagram, check out if we're live on Instagram. Seems we are. I can't quite verify it, but maybe, maybe not. Mm, I don't think we are. I don't think we are. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do our stuff, right, guys? We're not gonna wait. All right, MJ, thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming. Let's like, let's share, let's get going. Kay, thanks for joining. We are at 122 likes, and we will be going today. And today we are talking about enumeration techniques. You get an IP sent to you, and you have to enumerate that. So, guys, let's like and share the video, no matter where you're watching from. Wherever you're watching from, let's like and share the video. All right. So you have here in front of you, we have an IP address, and we're going to be asking ourselves some certain questions and then doing those things that we ask ourselves. So we're going to ask ourselves like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Okay, we are streaming to Instagram. Okay, we are streaming to Instagram. And that is what we'll be asking ourselves today. Okay. So what exactly is enumeration in cybersecurity? And enumeration is one of those things that is very important in cybersecurity, but it is actually the gathering and analysis of information. So you gather the information and you analyze it, you try to make sense out of it, which is to me, okay, one of the best things that could happen um, to any cybersecurity professional. And we're going to be looking at some of the tools that you might have known about, but what are some of the tips and tricks that the professionals actually use? So we all know about Nmap. For those of you who don't know about Nmap, I'll be bringing you up to speed. So what is the difference between a script kiddie and a guy who just joining, or okay, I don't want to say the little words or like a noob, but a script kiddie joining cybersecurity, whipping out a tool. Engineer Abdul, thanks for joining, and using that tool in a way that a professional comes, use that same tool and get more information. What is the difference? What are the tips and the tricks that they use? And we will be talking about that today. Okay, that will be our game for today. We'll be talking about it, and we'll be seeing how that happens. Richard, thanks for joining. Please like and share as you join. Very important as we go ahead to share our information. Okay, 77th. Okay, so we have this IP address here, and this is our initial information. We're going to assume that we got this maybe from our CISO, which stands for our Chief Information Security Officer. We're going to assume that it came from some anonymous source, whatever it is, but we ended up with just this IP. And now we know the IP address, and the first thing we want to do is to see if this IP address is alive or if it is dead. There's so many ways to do this, but the best way to do this is to ping this IP address. So we're going to copy it, and we're going to start by doing a simple ping command to that specific IP address. And as you know, I'm going to make this as big as possible. Everybody should be able to see. Nobody should be able to complain and say, hey, I didn't see that, blah, blah, blah. But I have to make sure that those who are watching on other platforms can also see this, because I realize that when we expand it too much, people on other platforms cannot fully see, especially people on YouTube. They've complained in the past, and they're like, hey, we can't really see what you're doing. So um, I'm trying to rearrange this to fit that. So we're going to put it like this, because when it's like this, it kind of like, oh yeah. So this is the best way to put it. Everybody can see it from here. Yes, I believe so. And then I'm going to check those guys on TikTok. Yes, you can see it as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to now start. SK, thanks for joining. We're going to now start. Please like and share the live if you're on TikTok. We're going to become root first, just so that our commands are able to go successfully. And to become root, as you know, you type sudo su, press enter, and then you can clear the screen. Thanks for the likes, guys. All right, thanks for the live. So now the first thing I said we're going to do is just to ping that IP address. All right. That's all you do to check if it's alive or dead. Now, a ping command basically goes to the server, asks the server, hey, are you up? The server, if the server is up, the server says, yes, I'm up, and replies with about 64 bytes of data. All right. It replies with about 64 bytes of data. If that data reply is coming back to us, then we can successfully assume that that IP address or that host or that server is up. And so we're going to press enter and we wait for it to come back to us. Now, as you can see here, destination host is unreachable, right? So this is one of the things that we want to look for, especially when we're looking for information like this. You can see here that the destination host is completely out of reach. So no matter what we do, we cannot get a lot of information from this particular IP address. So, but we're going to try one more thing because they can be using masking to do this. So we're going to try if we can trace route into that IP address. Now, I'm going to explain what that is. And as I explain it, you're going to be noticing that if you are a script kiddie, if you were not good at this, you could let go at this point. You could like, oh, it's not up, so let me go home. All right. But we're not going to do that because we are professionals here. What we're going to do is we're going to ask if a packet leaves our computer and reaches that IP. Now, let me explain the difference. With pinging, we are asking if the host should talk back to us. Maybe we have been barred by a firewall. Richmond, hey, Richmond, how are you? So, Richmond, you are XK General. That's my student from Ghana. Thanks for joining, Richmond. That's awesome. Please, you can post on your group, on your WhatsApp group that I'm live. Okay, Richmond, thank you so much. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to say trace route to that IP. And let me explain the difference here. Let me explain the difference here because if this difference is not explained, some people don't understand. In fact, most people won't understand it. But like I said, we are professionals. Okay? So when you are asking something to, when you are pinking something, you are actually saying, I want you to tell me if you are up. And if they implemented some kind of web application firewall, if they implemented some kind of firewall rules to ban us or ban any incoming packets, they would reply. And when they don't reply, it becomes unreachable, and you can assume that that server is offline. So instead of just packing up a laptop and saying they are completely offline and go, we're going to do a trace route. So what does a trace route do? A trace route takes a packet from a computer and move it all the way all through the network until it gets to the final destination. If it gets to the final destination and we have asterisks, it means it didn't go into the box. But if it gets to the final destination and writes an IP, then it got to the box. So that will mean that they are filtering us. So we're going to say trace route, and we're going to enter that IP address. I think it was a mistake I made. So that IP address actually ends with 161, but I added a .1 at the back. So that could have been my mistake. So let's follow this. And as you can see, the trace route started and of course successfully. So you can see that we actually reached the final destination. All right. So now that we reach the final destination, we're going to ping again and see if we are now allowed to talk to that particular IP. It might come back and say unreachable. Okay. Now we have our answer. We are being blocked from pinging, but we are receiving packets from that particular IP address. So, question number one of enumeration: what ports are open and what ports are closed. Question number one: what ports on that local IP, on that destination IP, are open, and what ports on that destination IP are closed? Now, most people, when they get into cybersecurity, most people, when they just start their journey into cybersecurity, they're going to say, oh, somebody's saying something interesting. Can it still work if the IP is behind something like black TDS? Yes, of course. It will still. You're asking about trace route. Yes, it will still work. Even when it's in the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, it's still gonna work. Why am I just the one here who hasn't picked this lecture today? We're always here, Christine. We're always here, but sometimes, because of work, we are not too frequent. I'll be honest with you about that, but we'll try to be. All right. Please, let's keep liking and sharing and going. So let's go now to the part where we're going to just see, by opening Nmap. Most people will do something like this: Nmap minus SV, and then they're going to put in that IP address, which they assume is going to tell them every single open and every single closed port. We are going to be telling you something very interesting instead. So this is a command that most people will run. All right. So let's be honest. This is a command that most people are going to run when they are checking for open and closed ports. Sorry about those notifications from my phone. I had to keep it on. Thank you, Christine. So we're going to press enter, and most people run this kind of a command. And you can see here, host seems to be down. Is it actually up, but blocking our ping props? So you can see that with minus PN, we actually get to know if it's blocking our ping props. So it is actually blocking our ping props. All right. So what we're going to do is run that same command, but now after minus SV, we're going to add minus PN with a capital P and a small n. And we're going to run that, which is going to ignore pinging prompts. Your future student in Mali is connected. Thank you so much, Scorpion. Thank you, thank you. I'd like to hear from you. If you're in Mali, please get to me and in my DM. I want us to deploy something in Mali. Skydio. We can deploy Skydio in Mali. Mali. I actually want to do that. So please get to me on my DM after this, and we're going to do something together in Mali. If you want to know more about Mali, about Skydew and how it works in Mali, just go to skydew.org, skydEW.org. I'm going to be talking about that, I think, tomorrow, and we're going to be bringing ourselves together and see how we can make progress on that. Now, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Skydew was actually developed here on this live. All right, we've developed two applications here on this live, and Skydew is one of them that's already making waves in 54 African countries. It's already published on multiple, um, uh, you can see it on multiple locations. Multiple news media have published about Skydew. So if you want to know more about Skydew, something that we did build here, go to skydew.org, and you're going to be seeing the first of its kind artificial intelligence that works completely offline, does not require a smartphone, does not require an application to be downloaded, does not require internet connection, but still is able to work. All right. If you don't know how we did that, you want to ask questions, you are welcome to ask questions, and we will do our best to answer you. All right. Okay. So we came back with our reply, and you can see what it is saying. It says that, and you have to read this to understand the kind of security that has been put behind the bars. It came back and said, the host is up. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. All right. Didn't this thing just tell us that the host is never up? We pinged it, it refused. We tried to do Nmap, regular Nmap, it refused. It said it's not up. But when we do a minus PN, it proved that the host is up. 100% proof that the host is up. And then it says all 1,000 can spot on that are in ignore state. Now, if you are my student, you know there are 63,000 ports. So we are being told a blatant lie here. It's not 1,000 ports. There are 64 or 65,000, not 6,500, 65,000 or 64,000, because those ports grow almost every day. And you come and you're telling us all 1,000 ports are ignored. No, there's no 1,000 ports. There's more than 1,000 ports. All right. And this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be breaking this down because at this point, a lot of script kiddies, a lot of guys who are not professionals in cybersecurity, this is where they go home. They're like, oh, I tried scanning it, the ports are not on, so no need to waste my time. But we say, hey, wait a minute, wait a minute. We can know if this thing is offline or not. We did our offline checks and okay, I'll respond to that. We did our offline checks and we discover, hey, wait a minute. And then it says there are 917 filtered ports that are not shown. Well, we are not script kiddies. We are not going to be joking around. We're going to dive a little bit deeper and we're going to write using the same thing. We're going to now start a very big, broad cybersecurity port scan. Now, I'm going to show you what we're going to write. And if you don't understand, I'm going to be helping you. We're going to first of all say nmap, which is our program, and we're going to say, hey, focus on ports that are only open. All right? So nmap, don't go do that nonsense you did. Focus 100% on only the open ports. Check for their services, which they are running, and the minimum rates, which I want you to run at. So you have to run at a minimum rate of 5,000 ports, and you have to be extremely verbose. Extremely verbose. All right, not just being verbose, but extremely verbose. What does verbosity stands in cybersecurity? In cybersecurity, verbosity basically is the ability for you to talk. So give me more information than is normal. Okay. So if you were giving me 10 information, give me 300 right now. I'm not happy with 10. I need to know why the ports are open. I need to know why the ports are closed. I need to know if they are filtered. I need to know why they are filtered. So do that for me. And then once you've done that, run at the normal situation of ignoring pink processes. So we're going to ignore all pink processes again, because remember, if we ping this IP, it's going to say no. And then after we do that, we now tell it the specific IP address it should be doing that on. Then we're going to copy again, just so that we are not, typing the wrong thing. We're just going to copy and paste. And then after that, is that over? No. We're going to say, do the OG scan and do it for all ports. Sorry. So do the OG scan for all ports. Now, for you, those of you who don't know OG, this is the old method of scanning. Now, let me give you one by one what we've written here, one by one what we've written here, and why we have written it the way we've done. The -P scans for all ports. All right. So the -P scans for all ports. However, the -P takes two minus sign, one in the front and one in the back. So we are saying we want you to scan specifically for ports that are open. So the minimum rate of 5,000 pushes through the whole, die down, the whole production, the whole virtual machines. We want you to look at all those ports, minimum rate of 5,000 for every port. And we want you to skip the host discovery, which is the -PN. So don't check if this host is up or down. Skip it. We're not interested in that because we've already proven that this port is lying to us. This system is trying to block us. This system is trying to say I am down when it is up. All right. So we don't trust it. That's what we're saying. We don't trust this guy anymore. So we're going to do our great things that we know we could do. Thanks for joining, Ken. Thanks for joining, Scofrey, Zodiac Reels. Thanks for joining. Please like and share. We are just at 900. Like and share, please. We need to have more people coming in here. After we do that, which is, in my opinion, quite interesting, after we've done that, we're now going to go to look at the -OG, which writes to every file that is checked, we extract the ports cleanly and then move to the next step. Is the OG thing. Is the way we did it in the past, and we can still do it today. All right. So we're going to run all of that and see what happens. Now, I must warn you that when you run a command like this, it usually takes a very long time for Nmap to come back to you with the answers. And we will be interested to look at the various open ports that might be open here. So let's run this first. And you can see here that Nmap kind of go into some kind of frenzy that most people might not have seen before. Nmap initiated a safe scan. So this scan is running very slowly and almost undetectable. And we're scanning all, guess what? 65, 535 port. We are not scanning that 1,000 port it tried to lie to us. We're scanning all 65 ports. And then we have here read file has been completed. All right. Read data files from that. Nmap scanned this amount of port. Packet sent was 13,000, was 131,057. That was 5 megabyte and received just 54 bytes. Hmm, interesting. So let's see if we can force it to do this on a particular location. So let's say CD desktop. And now that we're on the desktop, we're just going to force it to do that on the desktop. And now, as we do it on the desktop, you can see here there's something called all ports. All right, there's a file called here all ports. And we're going to try to see if we can see what is in this file. This is what we are, this is the -OG, which created the output file. And here we're going to see all ports. And now we're going to be asking ourselves, what is in all ports? What kind of things are open on that all ports? So we're going to open it. And now we have our all ports here. I'm going to bring it here. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's pretty difficult for me to see it, but we have here Nmap initiated port scanned that protocol 0 Nmap file IP address 1 is up, but it returned 0 port for us. Okay, interesting. So we don't have any port kind of open at this time, which kind of beats the whole idea that we don't know what ports are actually opened here. But we're going to try another option of using Nmap to just run through the ports. So we can do a fast one. And here your understanding of port numbers become interesting. We can ask Nmap if port number 80 is open on this IP. So we're going to grab our IP back. All right, let's see what happens when we just check for port number 80. Just one port. We're checking just one port. And unfortunately, I missed the -PN. So nmap down to IP addresses 0 hosts up. So it's going to say 0 hosts up because we did not ignore that. So let's do it one more time. Nmap scan specific port number 80. But before you do that, do -PN, which should be capital P, and just do it on this specific IP address. Very interesting. All right. So let's wait for that to come up. Okay. Let's wait to see how this goes on. Yes, we are using Hack the Box Parrot OS as well. Can we use Kali? Absolutely, you can use Kali. It's the same thing. No problem. No problem. Can you use Kali the same thing? Certified, how are you doing? Hello, everyone. David, hello and welcome. Why move to the desktop to run the command? Oh, you mean like why use the terminal? Scorpion, ask that question again better, please. I don't understand why move to the desktop to run the command. Like, why are we using terminal for that? You must run it on terminal. There's no way you cannot run this thing on terminal. Absolutely, you must run it on terminal. And it's taking a little bit more time, as you guys can see, like I mentioned last time. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, we're waiting for this to go through, and then we're going to have. All right, all right, all right. Let's see how this goes. Perfecto. So I think that let's try something interesting. Let's make sure that, hold on a second. I'll stop this guy and then I'll clear. And let's try telnetting just so that we're able to check if this guy is actually real. Okay, I see the issue. So we're scanning a guy that's not actually talking to us. So no route to the host is available. We now need to find out a way to get to this guy. All right, let's solve that first. I now see our issue. Okay, 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 okay. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. All right. I think at one point. mm, okay, so let's find a different host. Let's do this. Let's find a different host. And that was the best way. But the easiest way to find a different host, we're gonna do that on Shodan. Let's just go to Shodan and find. Let's find my favorite. Will be a camera. Okay, and we're just gonna take this camera for the sake, and we're just gonna. This is very easy to find. Please don't get me wrong. This happens all the time. There are two cameras in this office. Let's say office number one, and this guy's walking, doesn't know we can see him. So we're just gonna go ahead and grab this IP, and we're gonna use this IP as our test bed for today. So it seems like our other server was down. Oh, it's the same. Copy. And are you joking with me? Yeah, of course. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So guys, we're going to be using these guys instead, this particular IP instead, and we're going to run exactly the same thing that we've just done. So let's start again by pinking that IP. We had a dead host, that's why. And this is a good example of a server that returns your command. All right. So this server is basically saying, hey, I can talk back to you. This is me. I'm alive. I'm that, and I can hear you, and so on and so forth. And this is very good because we can see the reply coming in directly. Now that we have our replies coming in, my laptop is refusing to download WSLY. I don't know why. I can't know. So what's the end goal, Mr. Uno? Mr. Uno, the end goal is enumeration. There's no end goal here. Yeah, I don't understand what you mean by the end goal. What do we want to do at the end? We're learning enumeration. That's what we're doing. Okay. And then we're going to go back here. So now the IP is talking to us. So we're going to run, remember that command we ran before that had almost everything in it? This command? We're going to run it again, but this time we're going to call it um, ports, not all ports. We're just going to call it port. And all we have to replace is that IP address. And here I want to show you guys the power of this kind of a scan against a target. So we're going to go ahead now and run. And we're not going to have ports. And you can see that discover port 8080 TCP is running. And even though it's writing all of that information to the file, it's still showing us that information right here. Now, increasing delay for that due to drop props. So it's dropping our props. It's trying to block us, and then Nmap is dropping what it's doing. After some time, it's going to come back, and we now have all our ports that are open talking back to us. So if we open this file, we're going to see here port number 8080 is open and it's a TCP port. All right, so this is what is interesting to us. Port number 80 is open, and that's quite an interesting thing for us. Now, why is port number 8080 interesting for us? Because port number 8080 is actually the port that is a substitute for port number 80, which is the HTTP port. So if HTTP is not working, then it switched to 8080. So we can see that this is a backup port already. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to ask ourselves a question based on this. So we're going to say, if port number 8080 is open, then let's do a direct scan on port number 8080 on that IP. And I'm not going to put minus PN because it's actually responding to us. Now, why are we scanning a port that has explicitly told us it is open? Now, this is very important in cybersecurity because sometimes when you scan a port, the port tells you it's open or filtered, but doesn't give you some more information. So we're going to now add our multiple verbosity. So we're going to say minus triple V, not quadro, but triple V to that particular output. So ignore every other port. Just tell us as much as you can tell us about port number 8080. That's all we're saying. Are you work on full-time job right now? No, not really. I'm not on any full-time job right now. No, but I do train in cybersecurity. Yes, absolutely. So we can see here that scanning two hosts on 4 ports per host. Now, this is interesting. And this sounds to be not okay because we gave you one host, but you are saying you are scanning two hosts. So that gives us an idea that there's more than one thing we're looking here. And it says here on this particular port, the host down received 0 packets. And this one host down received no response, reads data from that, and nmap to that received. And we can see exactly how many byte was sent, how many byte was received. So if we go to just regular nmap and we say minus sv, okay, and minus st and pn, and then we run our IP again, you might be surprised that now we're saying, okay, we know 8080 is open, but what are the services running on 8080? What kind of services are running up here? What are those services doing? What are their versions? Now, the reason why we're doing this is because we want to look at something known as a CVE. The CVE stands for Common Vulnerability and Exposure. Okay. And the CVE allows you to get an insight into certain vulnerabilities in systems without you actually doing an exploit. So, without building an exploit, without trying to break your head through a vulnerability, you can just, yes, but you will need to put an underscore under my name at Zobruno underscore for TikTok. Okay, Francis. And then on the other platforms, if you want to know me, you're just going to add Bruno Les at the back. Bruno Les is what I've typed on the comment section. So facebook.com/Bruno Les, linkedin.com/in/Bruno Les, Twitter or x.com/Bruno Les, everywhere, just like that. Okay. Thank you guys for the follow, King. Appreciate you, Kingpin one. Okay, Kingpin, yes. All right. So that's what we are actually looking at. So we're going to see if we can have the versions of these ports. And the reason why we want to have that is so that we can have an idea of the CVEs. All right. So we have here 1000 featured port, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're going to check if that IP is still up. Refresh here. Okay, that IP is 100% up. And we can see this guy walking his way. We can check multiple streams. Okay, same camera from different locations. I don't want to believe that this is, okay, this is the biggest. So we can see this guy moving up and down and stuff, even, crashing his face and doing all of this. He's doing some job. Okay, so now we're going to ask ourselves who owns this IP. All right, so let's keep this here. We're not going to move away from this. We're going to come back, but we're going to ask who is this IP, or who owns it, or who runs this thing, to give us an idea about this IP. I see some questions. Press who is, and we're going to get some information. Okay, so here's some interesting information we have from who owns that IP. Host Location Ltda seems to be the owner. Host Location Ltda, they are in Safatel. The responsible person is Marcelo Safatel. What? Updated 2026. They're using Microsoft Azure. I don't know if that's, yeah, I think that's correct. And we have the company name here, Grupo Host. And we're going to copy that. And we're just going to go to Google. And we can have an idea of Grupo Host. Oh, look at that. It's a Brazilian-based internet service provider and hosting company. And that actually matches with a lot of things that we're seeing. All right, that matches to a lot of things that we're already seeing. And you can imagine that you can have a Brazilian person working, and yep. Okay, so hi, I'm studying cybersecurity. Is it true that AI is still affecting job positions? Absolutely, it is. 100%. Artificial intelligence is, if you're good in cybersecurity, you'll make more money. If you're not too good, it will replace you immediately. Okay, it will replace you without wasting a single second of its time. All right. So now we're going to do something interesting. We're going to see if we can know who this person is. And this is, somebody asked what's the end game. And this is one of the things, let me check on the time. Okay, we have about 30 more minutes. This is one of the things that we do in cybersecurity. Okay, the guy is saying hi. And we're going to now just take a screenshot. As you can see, I'm about to take a screenshot. And I'm going to grab the screenshot, but I'm going to wait until he stops moving, like that. So now I have a screenshot of this person's face. So how did we get here? We went to Showdown, search a normal IP, got somebody talking on the stuff, and we now have the person's image. Now, we also know the company is as Grupo. We're not saving that. I'm not saving that information. But we're going to ask ourselves a question. Can we then translate this, what we've just done? Can we translate it to knowing that person? Okay, yes, we can. We're going to go to a website called PimEyes. And when we go to PimEyes, we're going to upload our screenshot of that person. And what PimEye does is it doesn't search the internet for that picture, it searches the internet for that face. All right, we do have a small disadvantage. The person is putting on something that's blocking their complete mouth, and we're going to say start search. And the PimEye search all through the internet, found someone that looks like him. All right, and I'm surprised that this picked up in Ghana. I'm surprised that this picked up in Ghana. So it says chancellor.ucc.edu.gh. So I'm thinking it's Ghana, something like Ghana University. And I won't be surprised if this guy looks like Indian to me. The nose look a little bit different. They do look similar, but the nose looks a little bit different. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to take that screenshot and go to Gemini. And we're going to upload that picture. Now, I want you guys to see how someone can move from just getting one IP address to all the way to getting somebody's name and home address and all this good stuff. Thanks for the flower, Adams Official. Thanks for the heart me. Appreciate you. All right. So we're going to go to upload picture. So we're just going to go a photo. So we're going to add upload files. And we're going to go to our desktop here and look for that file. And this is what we're going to tell. We're going to say keep the person as he is. Keep the person exactly as he is, 1-to-1, which means no change, but remove the headset, the headphones, and the mic. So we're trying to get another picture from AI without this guy having that headset that's covering most of his ears, in most of his mouth, which makes that AI, the other AI called PimEyes, to have difficulty finding him. Once we do that, we're going to take that picture and go back to PimEyes. And on PimEyes, we're going to give two pictures now, one with him on that headphones and one with him without it. And as you can see, we do have a good picture of what he probably looks like without that headphones on. All right. So that being said, we're now going to download this. And we're downloading the full size just so that all the bytes are there. And we have here that bytes here called Gemini generated. And now we're going to go to PimEyes, select, and we'll go to our desktop, get the first image, and then add another one. Okay, so we're going to add another one. And this other one is going to come from the download, and it's going to call Gemini generated. So these are two the same images. What's the goal of this life? Galvani Martino, thank you. We are talking about enumeration, moving from IP address to someone's home address, moving from someone's IP, getting to know who he is, seeing a video of him, getting that picture out of him, going down to see if we can know who he is. Can we find his phone number? Can you be traced by just coming live? All right, a good example of that. That is what we're doing. That's let's not call it a goal because we're just learning. Proceed to face search, start search. Oh, we land back to the same guy. So let's find out who this guy is. First and foremost, to know who this guy is, we're going to go to this website, chancellor.ucc.edu.gu. Why same guy? Chancellor.ucc. This is now interesting. edu.gh. Edu, like education. This is interesting. It showed the same person, University of Cape Coast. And here we might need to go through a long series of finding and searching. Bruh, like sometimes this takes too long, but let's look for staff or former chancellors. Former chancellors. Dr. Michael Augusto. This looks like a Brazilian name to me. Okay. This looks Nkwame Nkrumah. This looks like Ghanaian. I know that person. Mr. Achille Achille Casley Hayford. This looks like a name that we might resonate with on what we're searching. So let's take that. But I don't think this guy was a chancellor at 1986. Ooh, I don't think so. So we're going to go to images.google.com and we're going to paste that name. And yes, he is right here, but this is not the guy at all. Okay. All right. 1977. So I think the website has been updated and we can't really know. Wow. So this website has been updated and some pictures are lost. Let's go to next, next, next. See, there are a lot of placeholders and we're not getting another image that shows who this guy is. All right, so we're going to try another one. I'm going to go back and multi-view will just show us the two separate people. There's just one guy in this office. Okay. Now, most of these things are not very good to show publicly because some people are crazy. You know, I've seen crazy stuff on this. All right. I've seen some information gathering. No, actually, information enumeration. All right, enumeration. We're not doing gathering. Okay, enumeration is fine. Gathering has been done before. I think we've skipped gathering. We're now on enumeration. Okay, but we're doing camera enumeration. I'm not going to do this. This is too private. Um, okay, why don't we set the country to US? And then, yeah, something like this. We could do something like this. This is way better. Do the browser you may using. Oh, good. Okay, let's take this IP and see what we get out of this. So we're going to start by doing our who is pink here. Not actually pink, a who is requests. Okay, another thing that we need to talk about is the IP to location thing. So you can see here the city where it is. This is Osage City, North 4th Street. So this is one of those kind of IP that tells you exactly where it is. Now, this is those IPs that I say it's very crazy. So if you take this and you just go to maps.google.com, which we can do here, absolutely. If we go to maps.google.com and we paste that in, not actually the IP, we're just going to paste that address, and we're going to try to see if this comes up to this city, to Osage. This in Kansas, I think. KS should stand for Kansas. So we're going to paste that. This New Jersey. Oh, I have a mistake here. And we're going to say KS. Okay. So we're looking for Ox Street. This name, Osage. Okay, so I'm going to say Osage City. And here we have what seems to be like the location. Now, I want to prove to you that this is absolutely right. This is 100% where that camera is, and I believe we can even see the camera. How do I know? Because immediately I jump here, I see these electric poles like this one. But, not but, and if I go here to this is what will open. This looks like something like that, right? It's a webcam G, D link. It looks something like that. So let's fall on that location. The house doesn't look like it. The house doesn't look like it, but I think the location seems to be it. All right, all right, all right, all right. And we have the zip code here 66523. We're going to check if there was a zip code returned to us 66523. So, yes, we're in the right spot. We are in the right spot. The information links up. Let me take some questions, guys, before I continue. How are deciding finding the IPs? So I just joined the live. Okay, we're just doing random IPs. We're not deciding on any IP that is asked by Danida. We are just, surfing around. We see an IP, we try to check it. We don't have a specific IP per se. Guys, is this Linux? Guys, for the first time, I'm getting your comments now from YouTube. Thank you. Heck07, are you trying to figure out? What do you mean by figure out? Yes, we're all figuring out. Yes, we don't have a script for this. We're all figuring out. Yes, absolutely. It's not prepared. None of our lives are prepared. We come and we figure it out together. Country code is US. Yeah, of course, we know that. Mediacom network. Mediacom is just like the technical IP, the technical people if you want to contact them. And then we have here the office network here, the full address of the office network. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So we do have here a very interesting view, which, okay, this guy is always on. I think we'll do this guy one of these days to figure out from the car plate number. I think that's actually a test because this car keeps being here. And if we can figure it out from that plate number, that would be great. Yes. And I love this one, but this is someone's drives away. I can tell you for sure. And this looks like one of those wooded areas. Ooh. All right, all right. So we have not figured out who this guy is. That was impossible for us to do in this short time, but we're able to get an idea of who that person works for. We figured out the company name and stuff like that. We could now do some enumeration by going to the company website, finding out if he's mentioned on the company website, finding out if he's mentioned on his name. Companies like doing that. They put their employees, their CEOs, their CTOs, and they put their pictures. At least we could have done that, but we're not going to do that for sure. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So in cybersecurity, enumeration is moving from one information to another, and this is the most important thing in cybersecurity, to move from one information to another, to make sure, hey, I got this information, I can move from that information and get this other information figured out. So that is what I had time prepared for us. Jumping on another meeting. That's why I see me checking my phone mostly. Tomorrow, I think we should be. Tomorrow is Saturday, guys. I'm not coming live. Okay, I won't be coming live on weekends. Okay, but on weekdays, I will do my best to make sure I am mostly live on weekdays. Okay, so TikTok is still doing this crazy stuff for us, guys. Can you imagine that TikTok is doing this thing? Like every time we go live, TikTok want us to, keep saying that we're here. All right. So that being said, guys, Mondays to Fridays, I'll try to be live. Why don't you use Maltego? It's better and advanced. Maltego, yes, better and advanced, but we're taking it one step at a time. Not only Maltego, we could also use some OSINT platforms like OSINT Framework. There's osintframework.com now, which is available on the web. But we have to grow gradually. We're taking one step at a time so that people don't just get to see you do fancy things. People also get to understand what you're doing and they can replicate it, which is the end game of it all. That was asked by Tambi, I think. Yes. So we're not looking at doing the most advanced thing for everybody. We're looking at growing gradually. Everybody should be able to follow it. Most importantly, people should be able to replicate it, and then we grow from there. So thank you guys for being here. You guys have been awesome. We've done this for exactly 1 hour. I will try to do it 1 hour every single day. Okay. We're going to try as much as possible to do 1 hour Mondays to Fridays, as much as we can. And then on the weekends, we chill out, meet back next week. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, guys. See ya. All right, we're going to be ending here on